present to everyone. Okay, good. Okay, then have a good class, and I'll be here too.
Thank you so much for the nice introduction. Okay, so good morning again. I'm happy to be here. It's a very exceptional time for you. It's my second time in Latvia, actually. So I've been to Riga already. Actually, I was a few years ago, but I've never been to such a beautiful place as Ventspils is. Honestly, I was lucky to have nice weather and nice students. So it's very interesting and very nice. Okay, so the presentation, the workshop today is going to be about an example of lexical processing tool, Sketch Engine. I asked you already before the class, some of you have experience with some lexical processing tool like AntConc, right? The good information is that all of them work according to similar patterns. So whatever you learn, find out about Sketch Engine today applies well to other programs, and I believe it can be of use to you. Well, we will start with going through the basics of the functionalities the program offers. Let me ask again, have you heard about the program? Sketch Engine. It's not on the blackboard. No? Because it depends on how fast we move on. Okay, that gives me important information. Now, the information is, we're not going to go through all the functionalities, all the details. That would be a waste of time and too much of an information. Well, I personally have this feeling when I attend some workshops or get introduced to new programs, too much is not good. I'm going to take you through to my mind, the most important functionalities of the program, and then it will be like project. I mean, I'll ask you to extract some data, to choose the corpus, extract the data, process it qualitatively and quantitatively. I'll explain during the presentation what it means. Sounds very serious, but it will be a very basic, simple task, and I hope you'll have a lot of satisfaction, and that will give you some insights into the possibilities of the program, both for practical application in translation, for example, and for your research work. I believe it might be helpful. So I already asked, some of you are digging into legal text, right? So perhaps it may be part of your research projects for MA thesis to use such program for processing, for analyzing the materials. Well, that's the first point. Then after the launch, we'll have a short presentation about my corpus, custom designed corpus, what I do with you. I hope it will also be of interest to you, I believe, right? That's the plan. Now, you tell me how fast we work, okay? If you suggest we should stop and explain things, just tell me, and I'm open. It's like, it's supposed to be that kind of class. Now, a few words about me and about the university I come from. As I said, perhaps it would be possible to start some cooperation in the future, and you might come as Erasmus students as well, which would be nice. So my name is, I thought it would be most practical to show you the website, because the surnames with all those foreign signs. So my name and first name is here. Okay, Edyta Wieclawska. I'm an assistant professor at the University of Rzeszów. Okay, that's another keyword here. Okay, where is the, okay, Rzeszowski is the adjective from the proper name Rzeszów, okay? So that's the name of the university. And if you want to get more information, you can enter this name on the internet and get more information. Now, the website is takes you to the Chair of Translation Studies. I'm involved in the research in translation and specifically in legal English. You can try now to figure out where it is. Are you there already? That should give you some information where in Poland we are based. Yes? So we are a university which offers comprehensive comprehensive education in applied sciences, in, yes, it's the hands, big hands, big people behind the business. Now, I am based in the Faculty of English Philology, Faculty of Humanities and the History of English Philology. So we are divided like into German philology, Russian philology, English philology, Polish philology. We're going to have some decoration, so to say, soon in the next months, but so far it was like this kind of division. And within the scope of the educational services that we offer, within the framework of the Institute of English Philology, we teach translation. But that's the subject, it's not the main course, as is your case, right? You have probably more translation-oriented classes. Okay, and I'm responsible for legal translation. I'm a lawyer and a linguist, first linguist and then lawyer. So that gives me the background to understand perhaps better what I'm talking about. I hope so, but it's not always easy, right? Because the legal systems are different and we come across different problems, so that's it. Now, Rzeszów has around 170,000 inhabitants, so it's like, let's say 3, perhaps 4 times Ventspils, but it's much less than Riga, for example. It's not a big city. It's like, have you heard about Krakow? Have you been to Krakow? Okay, that's 160 kilometers from Krakow to the east. So that gives you the idea where it's a 2-day journey by car. So it's pretty strenuous. Now, I hope it would be interesting if I play you a very short presentation about the place. Perhaps that encourages you to come to Rzeszów. Okay, it's going to be very technical, but I hope it's interesting. So.
There's good research that covers the amount of GDP stimulation that occurs as broadband connectivity penetration rises.
It's focused on technologies, but
cities themselves to encourage and promote growth.
Perhaps you'll get a few pictures
about a very diverse environment.
Yes, that's the main square.
Also, building a fiber network that could be a very costly and time-consuming exercise. So we're seeing more and more.
Here you've got the city,
and I think that's because people are realizing these very high throughputs, gigabit per second and beyond, are now available with wireless. I think in the past there was perhaps a perception that wireless couldn't compete with fibre in terms of the end user experience that was offered, but that's definitely changing.
All right.
Rzeszów had a vision for a smart city initiative.
That's the center.
Rzeszów is a relatively dense and heavily populated city. Therefore, having a large number of public facilities covered by such a dense network infrastructure enables us to offload bandwidth from the city's fiber networks, achieved through deploying a large number of wireless base stations.
There are 3 key components of Rzeszów's metropolitan.
It looks like we have just one roundabout because they show the roundabout all around. Okay.
That covers nearly 200 buildings of high-speed broadband connectivity, and we also backhaul hundreds of public Wi-Fi hotspots that provide free connectivity to either homes, businesses.
The university is not in the very
center. There's an intelligent transport system that covers bus stops, traffic lights in a coordinated way that aims to smooth traffic flow through the city. It also has 30 variable message signs on roads to provide real-time information to drivers. Finally, the CCTV, providing live feeds back to the control center. Because we need to cover the entire city, we deployed 19 hub sites. Each of those sites can cover a radius of 3 to 5 miles. But we've always specialized in point-to-multipoint microwave and millimeter wave technology, and that's becoming very much the order.
Okay, I think that's okay. It's more technology oriented, but I wanted you to see some bird eye view pictures of the city. It's flat, but the mountains start on the one side of the city, so it's very much different from what you have. That's why I enjoy the sea view so much. Okay, enough of the background. Enough of the background, and now let's try with the corpus. Now, the idea is that you open your own Sketch Engine accounts, and the chance is to use the free trial option. So first, can you enter the website as you've got here? You've got the headline, yeah? Hello, nice to meet you. Take a seat. Best next to your colleague, perhaps, so that you can join. Yeah, could be, so that you can know what you're doing. And open your free trial account. All what you need to do is to give your email address, and the account is valid for 1 month. I should not say that, but even if it expires, exceptionally dry and and there are some limitations if you work with free trial accounts. Like you cannot log in your own corpus. You used to work with the corporate already there, but theoretically you can do a lot of research with this free trial account as a, so that's good. Now tell me when you're ready. It takes you a few minutes. Yeah? Is it okay? Yeah. And is it okay? Maybe you should be erased. So take note of the password. What did you do in Krakow? It was your personal visit, private visit, or? It was very, very long time ago. It's time to repeat it. Did you like it? Mountains already, right? Mountains. Yeah, I can imagine that makes impression of you. And so is the seaside. Nice. Is there? Yeah, I'm here. Okay. Right, so we need to wait for the colleagues, perhaps. You can have a look at at the okay, here. Yeah. That's the main dashboard. There. And we need to select corpus. Okay. Alright, it's about selecting the corpus, and then that's the page on the corpus different way. Basics, English, and here you select the corpus. So choose whatever you want. What is it, English or Latvian, or two English? Sorry, both not perhaps here. Okay. Right, still in time. Corpus. Corpus and Are you there already? Yes? Or everybody has the access? The copy was for the next one. Okay,
There is
don't
something
worry.
wrong with passport.
Don't worry, don't worry, don't worry, don't worry.
There is something. Maybe I can log in with Facebook.
I don't know.
Is it a copy paste or? Yeah, this is it.
Some time ago, I have not read it for years, but I used to speak like years ago, and then simulates is not going to go. Yeah. Is it okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So again, I don't want it to make it theoretical. So a few keywords, then we go through the introduction and your project start. Okay. Now let us start with what Sketch Engine is. It's referred to as lexical processing tool. It means it's not the corpus itself. It's a tool, a program, if you like it that way, that helps you to digest the data. The data that's either inside or you have to feed in your data. Now that takes us, perhaps some of you do not see it because it's down there, to some key terms before we start. Now, it says corpus and does not always equal corpus. I will say in a minute what I mean. Parallel text, twice multiplied by 2. It means that we have two definitions of parallel text and comparable text. Can you see that? Yeah. Now, we need to define what it is, and then we come back to describe, to specify what Sketch Engine is. Now, what's corpus? Have you studied? You must have studied some theory about corpus linguistics, or if you did not, I mean, you must have heard about corpus because it's everywhere these days, either in this or that sense. What's corpus for you? If you think about the Latin word that is at the bottom of the history of the word, that's a body, right? Corpus, a body, right? We can say that a human corpus is a human body. So that's a set of items, a set of something, a kit, yeah? Now, corpus in linguistics is, if you do your research, do you work on corpus? Let's say let's imagine we are investigating the use of the special accent or pronunciation in skills. Then in order to do the research, we need to go around the streets to ask some questions to the locals, perhaps report them on your mobile phone. We have 10 conversations, let's say, and then we analyze them. Is it already a corpus, the 10 conversations recorded on your mobile? Yes, it's already a corpus. So if you think about corpus, you don't always have to think in big terms like corpus is like 10 million words. British national corpus, or is a big thing. Corpus is also any set of texts, right? That's corpus. So the first definition of corpus is it means that a corpus is any set of texts. We're not talking about numbers. It can be 5 texts, it can be 10 texts, it can be 1,000 texts. Set of texts, the material, the stuff that you're analyzing. If you take the book, for example, it's already a corpus. right? Another definition of corpus, that's why I crossed over the equality mark. Another definition of corpus is a corpus which is already in an electronic form and it's accompanied by some kind of functionalities and technicalities. And you have a corpus, so you have the material, the stuff, but you also have a tool that's geared, it ties together, that enables you to search further, to fish out some data, extract the data, mine the data. Data mining is another concept. So it's the material plus electronics, let's say, plus technology. But corpus is not always a big thing, and corpus is not always a technology. You need to know it. Now, if we are talking about sketch engine, as you have here, we are talking about a program which has the material inside, but the program also has the possibilities to absorb your own corpus. So let's imagine you have the 10 texts that you recorded walking along the streets of Mansfield. You digitalize it, and you get it in Excel form, and you upload it in Sketch Engine. It's also possible. And then you digest the data, you process the data, that is yours. That's your own custom designed corpus. It's also possible. But Sketch Engine has its own materials inside, and we together today will be working on the materials that are there. Okay, is it clear? Now, two more notions: parallel text and comparable text. Are you familiar with these terms? It's from linguistics. I mean, I know everybody understands the term parallel and comparable. We're not asking about the, the meaning of the words, but as terms, what does these terms mean? Parallel text? Similar, definitely similar, but in what way similar? Again, it has the number 2 next to it. Parallel text means texts which are, number 1, which are translation of each other, of one another. So let's imagine we want to do some analysis of how proper names are translated from English into Latin. So you need to find information. We need to make a corpus of parallel texts, original text, source text, and the translations, right? In order to analyze how some phenomenon is, operated on in translation, how it behaves. So you, for example, you find the English language newspaper, like National Geographic, for example. You have the original text, and you have the translation into Latin. Is it translated into Latin? I'm talking about National Geographic because Newsweek, is it translated into Latin?
I don't think so.
But the Cosmopolitan.
Yeah.
Cosmopolitan, yes, we also have it. So you just take the same text from the English language journal, and then you have the same text from the Latin language journal, and you have parallel text, the same translation. That's one definition. Some people say, and it's treated this way in scientific and academic papers, that parallel text is like singular text. It's about text which refers to the same subject matter. So let's say parallel text according to this definition is a text which is about the same topics, which is at the same level of difficulty. But let's imagine you are analyzing translation of drama of complex sentences, and you are working on parallel text according to the second definition, which means that you get academic text on the one side as source text, then you have academic text on the other side as target text, as translations. But it does not mean that they are translations of each of one another. Yeah? So that's the second definition. But most often, parallel text is the source text and translation. Comparable texts are any text in the original language of special type, and the text in the target language of the same type, translations. It's mixed. Okay, you have to be careful because if you study any kind of research or academic paper, they usually define it at the beginning how they understand the notion of parallel text and comparable text. Okay, so be careful about that. Now, I mentioned the term parallel because I'm working on parallel corpora, and here what you say what I mean, yes. Now, the project that you're going to do with Sketch Engine, that will be a project related to comparable corpora, because I will ask you perhaps, I will ask you to analyze something in English, academic English and legal English, or in academic Latvian and academic English. They will not be translations in a sense, right? They will be comparable text. Right, so we know what Sketch Engine is now. Some information about the details. I need to be very careful about the. not to switch off any functionality here. Right, so let me introduce to the main functionalities of Sketch Engine. I will refer to the terms that I put on the blackboard, like tags, tagging, annotation, related term, SQL, computer query language. I will explain these things, don't worry. These are like headlines, yeah? Key terms. Query, meaning search formula, and everybody knows what searching means, right? And there's also there are also important terms such as lexeme versus word. Do you know what lexeme is? From grammar? We'll come back to it. All right, so the plan as of now is I show you the dashboard, the basic functions. I define what it means, and we focus on one functionality. Concordance, right? Just one functionality. I introduce it to the possibilities of how to design nice, fairly complicated query formula. In the meantime, I will ask you to watch 2 videos, short ones, like 3-minute films that are in there, and then the project starts, a very short one. I hope you'll enjoy it, okay? So, general information. That's the basic functionality, and it asks you to select corpus. So I suggest you select one corpus, any one you like. Do you want to analyze the material in Latvian? Fine. Do you want to analyze the material in English? Fine. German? Even better. Choose any language and any corpus you want. Now, note that there are quite a number of corpora for the same language. So you can either choose legal English, either academic English, or something else. For example, I'm heading for English, and here, look. No, it's here. No, it's here again. Advanced search. Look, you've got a number of corpora, and you can go for English, which is Brexit corpus. Come on, it's Brexit corpus. Very interesting. Now, British academic spoken English. You see, there is a difference between spoken and written language, right? Choose one, whichever you want. Are you there already? Yes? Okay, now the introduction. What you have here, now I need to sit now because it will make it comfortable to go through the basics, okay? Are you there? So I will give you some time, but first look at what I'm showing here. What you see here from the from this position is these are different functionalities of the program. We are not getting into details because we don't have much time. Some of them, you know, thesaurus. You know that it gives you synonyms or close synonyms of the terms, right? Word list. It shows you, if you choose one corpus, it shows you the list and frequencies of all the words that are used in the corpus. Interesting. You can have a look at the list of most common words. You can judge whether the lexicon is rich or not, right? Keywords, that's interesting. It gives you which words are key, which words are used more often than usual. Word list is different from keywords in the sense that keywords gives you a list of terms, of items, of words, of tokens, whatever you want, with the frequency data, but these are extracted after having compared the average use of these terms with another corpus. So there is a reference corpus. Looks complicated now, right? So, for example, if we have a corpus of the conversation that we have right now here, we have a list of words, and there is like table, computer, lady, Krakow. You have a list of words that were used, all of them, right? And the frequency data. Now, that's the word list. Everything that was used, that cropped up here. Now, for keyword list, it gives you the list of the terms that were used more often than in average conversation. So perhaps Krakow would be at the top list, because it's not something that appears, right, very often. Or computer would not be on the list, because computer is part of everyday conversation, right? So it's something usual. Can you see the difference? Yeah, more or less. Anagram, that's interesting. Anagram. Anagram, anybody familiar with these terms? Now, anagram stands for sequence of words, sequence of items. It's not a collocation, not necessarily, because collocation needs to be fixed, fossilized. Anagram is a string of 3, 4, 5, 6 words standing together. Anagram, some scholars claim that the terms, that there are a few synonymous terms or closely synonymous terms to anagram, like word bundle, or cluster, or sequence or string of words. If you're interested which sequences of words repeat throughout your corpus, then you have to use this item, okay? Now, we will focus on concordance, and that's it. We are not going any further. Now, there are two things that I need to show you, right? If you press concordance, can you press concordance? Yeah, what you get, you have the option basic and advanced. When you press the option basic, yes, you can enter any word, let's say make, press search, and it gives you some data. Yeah? Have you tried it? If you press the option, have a look at the screen, please. If you press the option advanced, now it's more advanced. It gives you more possibilities to search the corpus. Don't worry about that. We're not getting into details. This is for processing metadata. But we will focus on what is simple search, what is lemma, and what is CQL. Right? Let's start with basic. What you need to know, okay, or perhaps that's the time. I want you to watch this video that shows you the basic
This screencast shows how to
information
find
about
words
it. All
and
right, 3
phrases in
minutes.
context using the concordance in the Sketch Engine corpus query system. This time you will learn how to use the simple search on the basic tab. Log into Sketch Engine and switch to the new interface. Select the corpus in the required language. The size of the corpus may affect the search speed, so it is a good idea to use a small corpus when learning to use the concordances. Select concordance and on the basic tab, type a word or phrase. If you type lemmas, the basic form of the word, the search will automatically include all forms of the words. If you type word forms, it will only find the word forms you typed. You can allow a random word in between with an asterisk. Search criteria can be modified. And the search can be limited to only certain parts of the corpus. This will find all 3-letter words ending in ET and also words whose lemma ends in ET. Asterisk stands for any number of characters. This is how to find words beginning with this or words whose lemma begins with this. The Advanced tab offers many more search options, and there is a separate screencast about it. If you have any questions, please use the comment section below or email support@sketchengine.eu. To try Sketch Engine, register for a free trial on sketchengine.eu. Thank you for watching. To see more videos like this one, click the subscribe.
All right, is it clear? You just get simple information. Don't worry about the asterisks. If you feel like more information, you get user guide and it explains you in detail. But basically, it's for entering any simple word and it gives you all the occurrences of the word. Now, we will focus on what is advanced. And in order to get further, I need to explain some things here, right? So have a look first of all at what we got here. Now, can you see the symbols like 2, W, D, T, N, N, whatever, right? Can you see that? You might not have it because that's a special option that I pressed here. A special option, right? Now, I just have it the way with all those little germs here in order to show you, to explain you what tagging is. Tagging is process tags as these little symbols, right? A related term, we're not getting into details, is annotation. Now, whatever you upload in the program or whenever you use any of the material, any of the program that you have here, it's tagged. It's accompanied by these symbols. It's like grammatical annotation. It's like about grammatical information. It recognizes how many verbs you have, how many nouns you have, and some other information is included in these texts. It's really important because it gives you the chance to combine, to come up with some more sophisticated query formula. It's not that you're interested in getting the information how make is used or how a specific word is used. what specific collocations to make. You can ask for more. You can ask for, show me all the adjective plus verb formula. And you're not saying specifically which words you are interested. And you can do this because the system, the material is tagged. Of course, that means that you need to know the system, the symbols, right? But that's not difficult. Now, that takes us to another thing, that CQL, that is important. And I think it's the notions, the terms, the technical terms are similar throughout other computer processing programs. CQL stands for Computer Query Language. Query means searching. So it's about programming, like being an IT specialist programming things. You need to come up with some mathematical formula which makes the computer, which convinces the computer to extract some information. Now, let me show you some basic things, right? I will come back to here. Right, so if you press CQL from the position of advanced, then you get introduced to the whole array of tools, let's say. Right? Now, I will show you some information in the meantime, but I suggest we watch this short video. Before we do that, can we, for a while, come back to the notion of lemma? Now, lemma is the basic form, is the generic, the basic form of a word. So if you ask for make and press lemma, it shows you make, made, makes, all these forms. If you ask for make and press word, that shows you the word specifically, only those sentences that include specifically make. Is it clear? That's also important, depending on what you want. So these options, and we're not explaining these things for a while, and not now. The last thing, by way of introduction to the theory and the basic functionalities of the program, is the CQL notion, term, mechanism, let's say. And we can play this recording twice if there is a need, and I'll explain. I will add my own information to it. Let's try.
Hello, this is Andrzej from
Can you hear it?
And in this screencast, I will show you the basics of using CQL, which stands for Corpus Query Language.
Very well done.
Learning to use CQL is useful if you need to search for complex lexical or grammatical structures in the corpus. If this is not what you need, please look at the video about word sketch or basic and advanced concordance search. The CQL is a special code or query language which can combine words, part of speech tags, corpus structures such as beginnings and ends of sentences or paragraphs, or even unspecific criteria into one search. Let's start by showing how to find examples of mind business, such as mind your business, mind your own business, mind his own business, and so on. The easiest way to find such examples is to use the word sketch, but for the purpose of learning, we'll try to find the examples using CQL. There are 3 words in the phrase, so 3 pairs of square brackets are needed, 1 for each token. Each word is a token and punctuation is a token too. The first token is the word mind. If we want to find all forms of the verb, such as minds, minding, minded, we'll use lemma instead. Let's not set any criteria for the second token. It can be any word. And the last token will be the lemma business. Make sure you use straight quotes, not rounded ones. You can use spaces to make the CQL easier to read. As a rule of thumb, do not use spaces inside quotes. The search found some examples where mind is not a verb. Let's fix that. I will use an additional condition for the first token, a part of speech tag. If you do not remember the tags used in this corpus, you can insert them like this.
You have the symbols there. You don't need to look for them.
The second token should be a pronoun.
Pronoun.
The query can be understood as find a sequence of 3 tokens where the first one is any word form of mine and is not a noun. The second is a pronoun, and the third is any form of the word business. I would also like to include results with the word own, such as mind your own business. I need another pair of square brackets. And I will mark it optional by using a question mark. Own and business don't appear in any other word form in this phrase. So I could use word and the result would be the same. You can test yourself if I'm right. The default attribute lets you simplify the query. It will be used for all tokens which do not have an attribute assigned explicitly. Setting it to word will simplify the query like this.
Did we all? Yes? I believe so.
To explore more variations inside the phrase, you might try a less specific search. This search would read as find all word forms of mind not used as a noun, followed by the word business, with no token or 1 or 2 or 3 random tokens in between. This might include some unwanted results, but might also identify some interesting and unexpected ones. Complex CQL queries on a large corpus may take several minutes to complete. To generate a list of all possible variations of the phrase, use the frequency in the concordance toolbar. There are many more things you can do with CQL. You will find more tips in another screencast. You can also learn more about CQL from our website.
Now, was that clear? More or less, yes. I believe it's very precisely presented here. Now, let me go through these, what we get here. That's basically what we have here. Now, the one thing is that the tags, the symbols are different for different languages. So if you choose Latvian, the tags will be different than for English, okay? But you always have them on the right-hand side, okay? Now, the manual that I sent you, that was supposed to be my sort of help, assistance, and you have some explanation in Polish, don't worry about it. it's basically repeated what you have here. Additionally, if you've got this symbol, then it means either or. If you have these braces, then it gives you a sequence of lists. We're not getting into details. This was explained, and this was explained as well. Now, the formula that I'm creating myself look like that. The colors are used here in order to show the some items. So that may look like that. Scary, isn't it? Yeah, like mathematics. But it does not have to be like that. It can be that simple as the guy showed to you. Now, your task, but that will be perhaps after the lunch break, is number 5. All right, number 5. Do you feel you are up to it? I believe so. That was meant as a group project, but you can do it individually, and it can be very simple formula. Collect quantitative information. So if you look for collocations with a specific word, quantitative information, you collect the numbers and then you analyze it qualitatively. You are thinking why. It's like, why do we have so much passive voice in academic text? Because it's supposed to be objective. It's supposed to hide the person who's doing things, right? Obvious results. Why do we have so many abbreviations in slang language or in computer language? The qualitative analysis is because we care for time, we care for for speed, right? Obvious conclusions. Selected linguistic problem, collocations, I mean, what? Sequences of words, whatever you want. In a specific communicative environment, sounds very academic, but what I mean, I ask you to choose a corpus. Which one did you choose? Can you tell me?
Brexit.
Brexit, and your colleague? Okay, and no? Okay, which else? Which one did you choose? Brexit, okay. Academic, okay. So what you can do, so that's the specific communicative environment. It's academic language and Brexit language. Now, you may apply the same query formula to search different corpora. So why don't you search the same in academic corpus and the same in Brexit corpus? Or, yeah, just to compare, and you will get different results. For example, that's my idea. Now, you have some examples, verb plus noun collocations, or all the collocations with specific words. These are just examples. Choose one, or add something more. It does not have to be this. Now, here you have the some help. Choose 2 corpora. That will be comparable search, because we compare how, let's say, make is used in academic text and in Brexit. Can be? Wonderful. Concordance. We will be working with concordance. We design a search formula with SQL elements. That's the thing that we studied. At least 3 elements. I want you to think hard. 3 elements. So it's not much. It's not that long as I showed you, like 3 elements, not much. Extract the data from the concordance functionality and process the data. All right, have a look at that. I'm doing here. All right, okay, let's say we look for tag, then we have equality mark, then we add this. We need verbs, no, adjectives, let's say adjectives. Then we have, okay, we can add any, let's say 0, 1, okay, any word or 0 words, and then we have adjective. Which one can we have? Okay, lemma and company. You see, you can combine the concept of tag with the concept of lemma, or it can be twice tag, as you wish. Have a look at that. Now, this is something that I can switch off without those little symbols, you see? Now, if you get the results, I want you to analyze the frequency. If you look advanced, it gives you the frequency of the words, okay? I can help you to come back to it. For example, you've got the option frequency here. If you get the data, then you click frequency. You choose advanced, and then it gives you various possibilities to sort the data, okay? Because otherwise it can be like difficult to digest. Now, obviously, in order to process the data, they can be downloaded to the Excel file. Okay, so it's another thing, right? Now, it's like already their lunch break time. So my idea is, can we have the break now? And can we please come back like 1:45? Is it okay?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So that's what the timetable says. So we can start with your project 1:45. 1:45, yes. I'm checking what my mobile says. Okay. So 1:45, which means we have an hour of lunch break, yes?
Yeah.
And we process with the project. Don't worry, it can be something simple, and I hope you'll have fun. And it's a good starting point to play with the computers. Right, do you have to switch off your computers, or is it okay if you leave it like this? You can leave it, because I closed the door, yes?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it possible? Oh yeah, we'll go to the. All right, then 1:45. Yeah, the last session. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, the key is in the door, I guess, is it? Okay. Yeah. Yes, it is. All right.
Who will have the key?
I will have. Okay. I will have.
May I say?
So 1:45.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Trzeba narzekać.
Man fakti, man datoram nav diezgan liels apjoms. Tas ir arī, tas ir šis ļoti svarīgos failus kaut kādus.
Es uzvietēju, es iedomāju, ka darbā man pateic, ka vispār zini, ka tas kā iespēja, ka pēc gada mājās autors tāds.
Kāpēc?
Jā, bet tāds kā mums pasakās, nu šeit, tu jau laicīgi vajadzētu kaut kāds.
Tas viss savs failus saukot tā kā
Tāds.
Paldies par brīdinājumu.
Es biju vispār man pastāvēt, man bija tāds.
Es nevienu jau nopirku, ka ir cietētas stundas, un cēlākāri visu saldu, un cietētas. Un es arī tagad noši padot reikolēt.
Nē, es tagad vienīgais visas darbs, un saldu būtu.
Nu, es gan laiku, man ir boks, man ir kaut kāds vērtas writer, kas ir ļoti līdzīgs vārdam, tikai viņam, piemēram, atver jaunu to, tai programmē jaunu to failu, viņš tā kā internetā tā kā jaunu tabatu vai blakus. Tas tā interesanti, un arī viņam. Es īsti nevaru atrast, kur var redzēt cīņu, nav nevis rakstīmas, bet tās neredzamās zīmes. Es nezinu, kā viņam pielikt komentārus. To es vēl neesmu atklājusi, bet tā tas pats, kas būs.
Es tagad dārstu, tad kaut kādu līdzīgu, tā kā kaut kādu mammai un tā to. Es darīju tā kā atsevišķi tā kā kaut kādu kastīte. Viņš nav pārtēs visu datoru ikonu, tādu lielu simbolu, un tev viss, kas tagad datorā, tad labājas arī tavā mākotī. Tā kā, pasīšanas.
Man liekas, mūsdienas ir ļoti kaut kas ir iespējams, un esmu tā augsts no tehnoloģijām. Es nebiju, esmu arī dators, man jau nav gads.
Okay, I think we're looking for, we're waiting for, okay, my lady.
Yeah. You're here.
You have more classes today?
Yes.
How many classes per week do you have on average?
In total, about 8. 4 on Friday and 4 on Saturday.
Do you work already?
Yes. Well, it's not anymore.
Translation or teaching or what do you do?
I'm self-marketing manager. Yes.
Or something else?
Something else, translation is horizontal content. Homepage, posts, Facebook.
Right, very interesting. Okay, so you have time for it. And that's the good thing about translation, that you can, even if you have completed the studies, I mean, you can do it additionally to something else. Which means nice and not nice, because you end up doing that in the evenings, right? And it takes up your private time as well. But you can nicely combine it with something else, which is nice. Okay, well, you know what you're expected to do. Do you have an idea of, you've chosen the course, right? Do you have an idea what you want to look for? Try to do something simple. It doesn't have to be complicated, like verb plus something or verb plus specific noun, or choose, if you go for lemma, the word, then choose something very general, very common.
I saw about one word.
Yeah.
This is great, because it's Brexit. And I think that there should be.
All right. So try to formulate, then we enter, and I will be with you again, but I need to log in. Okay, Feeling. I have my, I have the official account, so LXEJEC2. Yes. Okay, so what we are doing, you get to the concordance. Are you there? Not basic, but advanced, right? And then we choose the CQL option. And then try to come up with some nice formula. Okay? Now, you've got your time, let's say like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, as much as you want. Try to get the results and then get to the frequency option. The request instruction is analyze it in terms of qualitative, dimension. Try to guess why such things happen, why some formula is common, what do they want to convey, because you can analyze wider context, right? If you need my help, just tell me, I'll come to your desk, okay? Now, 10 minutes, and then we just come up with the results. Also compare this formula into languages or in different corpora like Brexit and something else, okay? Yeah. You can take some notes. State, right? But it will be most often member state. Right, try to leave some empty box as they suggested. Now, you have one bracket with something, let's say it's special tag. Then you can have like empty bracket. Can be. You decide how many elements you can have here. Let's say 0, 3, comma, right? Log it. And then you can have another tag, or here another lemma. Yeah, try to come up with yeah. Go on for something.
En es tagad tu izvēlējies no šeit, kas ir līdzīgs. Un viņās ir kā piestiņš to tētājs. Nu, kaut kas tāds pārējais. Nu, tā sarakstā iedomāšām. Jau esmu darbības. Jā, tad mēs sasāksim tukšu. Tad nākamais ir šeit. Tur ir. Jā, tā kā tās apvienās, tad apvienās iekļauts ir lūkumams. Es esmu dos. Un tad mēs var arī nebūtāt teikt, ka mēs esam izvēlēties lēmumu, un to ir izmēģināt polisi. Polisi, piemēram.
All right. The presentation is for later, but mhm. I will play the film again, but you don't have to watch it. Just work on your own. Perhaps it will be
Hello,
an
this is
inspiration
Andrzej
for
from
you.
Hello, this is Andrzej from Sketch Engine, and in this screencast, I will show you the basics of using CQL, which stands for Corpus Query Language. Learning to use CQL is useful if you need to search for complex lexical or grammatical structures in the corpus. If this is not what you need, please look at the video about vieslekcija for basic and advanced concordance search. The CQL is a special code or query language which can combine words, part of speech tags, corpus structures such as beginnings and ends of sentences or paragraphs, or even unspecific criteria into one search. Let's start by showing how to find examples of mind business, such as mind your business, mind your own business, mind his own business, and so on. The easiest way to find such examples is to use the word sketch, but for the purpose of learning, we'll try to find the examples.
We think it's so broad, we chose the verb and three elements and
There are 3 words in the phrase, so 3 pairs of square brackets are needed, 1 for each token. Each word is a token and punctuation is a token too. The first token is the word mind. If we want to find all forms of the verb, such as mind, minding, minded, we'll use lemma instead. Let's not set any criteria for the second token. It can be any word. And the last token will be the lemma business. Make sure you use straight quotes, not rounded ones. You can use spaces to make the CQL easier to read. As a rule of thumb, do not use spaces inside quotes. The search found some examples where mind is not a verb. Let's fix that. I will use an additional condition for the first token, a part of speech tag. If you do not remember the tags used in this corpus, you can insert them like this. The second token should be a pronoun. The query can be understood as find a sequence of 3 tokens where the first one is any word form of mind and is not a noun. The second is a pronoun, and the third is any form of the word business. I would also like to include results with the word own, such as mind your own business. I need another pair of square brackets. And I will mark it optional by using a question mark. Own and business don't appear in any other word form in this phrase. So I could use word, and the result would be the same. You can test yourself if I'm right. The default attribute lets you simplify the query. It will be used for all tokens which do not have an attribute assigned explicitly. Setting it to word will simplify the query like this. To explore more variations inside the phrase, you might try a less specific search. This search would read as find all word forms of mind not used as a noun, followed by the word business, with no token or 1 or 2 or 3 random tokens in between. This might include some unwanted
Use the
results,
frequency
but might also
option,
identify
all right?
and unexpected ones.
And what next?
Complex CQL queries
No,
for
we
large
have
corpus may take
You have it?
to complete.
Yeah, something we have.
All right.
About this one there policy. No, like you showed us.
To generate a list of all possible variations of the phrase,
Is it different? If it was the same, or I should change the corpus?
Yes, and then see whether
there are many more
whether
things you
the
can do
language,
with
how the language is
SQL.
different.
You will
that's
find more
this is
tips
the
in
structure.
another skill.
Oh, okay.
You can also learn more about SQL from our website. To try Sketch Engine, register for a free trial of Sketch Engine. Thank you for watching
You can use
and
the
don't forget
frequency
to
option
subscribe.
and perhaps the sorting option also try to use this. All right. Yeah. Now, beware of the question mark. I just scrolled down the common tags option, and the question mark makes part of the symbol, but sometimes it's out of the bracket, which means it's optional. This element is optional. The question mark, be careful with it because it has double function. And how are you doing? Another, let's say, another short piece of time. I mean, 3 minutes, and then I'll ask you the results. It does not have to be complicated. Just tell me which corpus you have, which formula you entered and what you found out. A load of phrases. Now, please refer to the degree of variation in a phrase. Which formula did you enter? Trade and industrial policy. Trade. Okay. And you have the information what is made? You have the information what is inside. If you enter B1C, box B1C, and that's the information. Yes, it is dominated by one phrase. Yeah, and also, make it somehow more general. Can you make it tag and verb? Or can you make it tag just it's always the most updated word. Let's try this. Commas, and that's what the Italian process. So, moving back here, it can be either or noun, or as try is a noun, she's a good word, as an attribute, let's say. This one is fine, very powerful, but it can be some adjective. Not real cultural words, such as in things. Alright, let's try this. I will show shape. There is no less from this. It's or changing it. Last policy. Do we have policy here? It's always trying okay, this trial version functions sometimes starting properly. Nationalism against okay, I think I'm going to here. See the next whole sign, and sometimes they have like calculation processes, and it's also nice to the whole is nice to read. This is Brexit, it is Brexit. Let's try to deal with let's try to do with some more general issue, perhaps. Or it's not as in terms of practice, it's about simple. Problem. You can get the all without that. It shows we can analyze it in terms of attitude, in terms of adjectives, in terms of attitude, in terms of ameliorative or pejorative attitude. You can assess what attitude is by identifying the adjectives. All right, and then advance again. We've got right. What do people think about foreign analysis? Let's see about qualitative interpretation. Okay, can you just do this? I'm not sure. What is the word? It's here. Just do it before. Okay, ignore this. Ignore the numbers because the numbers are in the and they are calculated. But we've got the information that this whole use is dominated by these four elements, and these are very pejorative. You understand the pejorative? Yes, negative. Right? Why don't you do the same formula? The same formula in some other terms. Then you will see. Okay, just this is for your notes, yes? Yes. Why don't you choose another corpus, British national corpus, neutral soup, yes? And do the same query. Okay. It has to be active. It doesn't want to. Okay. Oh yes, it's okay. Let's see what we get. Let's see. Neutral. Take a note of that and try to comment that. Everybody? Yes? Okay, great. We have some interesting findings with your colleagues. Another 2 minutes. Oh, thank you so much. Okay, shall we start, please? Yes? Yep. Okay, then I'm wondering what your findings are. Now, who starts? Please. Will you? All right. Which corpora did you choose?
We chose the Brexit corpora, and we also chose British academic written English works. So our TQL, this formula was the brackets tag with verb, then another brackets, and the next one was that symbol, I don't know how it's called, 0.3.
You will see the braces.
Yeah,
Braces, showing that there can be some elements inside.
Yeah, three
optionally. Yes.
Three
All right.
optional elements, and then another brackets, and inside there was a llama with the word policy. So and we searched with this formula through these two corpora, and we found out that we compared these two corpora with the British academic written English corpora. The foundings were quite neutral and general, as well as there weren't many optional elements in between the verb and the word policy. Mostly there was none in between, or some adjectives more or less, or some pronouns, but that was quite less than with Brexit.
So what does it show? That the Brexit has more variants?
More variants, more precise in their field.
That's already the qualitative interpretation, yes? The qualitative. Why? More varied, more precise?
Yeah,
very
not academic.
Yes?
Not academic.
Not academic. In what sense? What makes you think?
Because we had a result, for example, where we found that there are policy, for example, claiming words that go before foreign policy, average rates that are not at a quite advanced level in terms of language usage.
Register.
I forgot that word. But, yeah, the register was, in our opinion, a bit lower than the, of course, the academic written form.
One more phrase was preaching poison and policy.
Yeah, sure.
It's not academic.
Do you find it interesting?
Actually,
Illustrative, yes.
Yeah, there's quite some examples like this, and also we can see that in British corpora, the most topics that they discuss with this formula are connected with immigration and foreign policy. But compared to the academic corpora, then here again the neutral, the general. There is there are less kind of concrete, how to say, fields which they discuss. For example, they're just increased policy, influenced policies, even one policies, but there's no, there are less specific fields.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Right, okay. Do you think you might use it for your research? It's easy. Once you get hold of it, it's easy.
Yeah.
And kind of obviously get the results, data, right?
Yeah, it's easier to see how the pattern of some elements.
Okay.
It's hard to see on the single Word document or in PDF.
You still have some numbers. Yeah? Okay, now we had some nice results here, do we?
Yes.
Because we had this Brexit program.
Yes, and the other was?
And we look for adjective and word foreigner. And in Brexit corpus, there was really negative adjective.
What makes you think it's negative?
Because there was with foreigner, the research was like bloody,
wealthy, that's important. What is the conflict about? When you don't know what people argue about, you argue about money, right? Yeah, that's the saying. That's what the saying goes.
Faceless.
Very, very illustrative. Yeah, faceless.
Yes, but when we look in
Yeah.
now there is neutral. The other foreigners nothing feel most little rich, real, only new, more. Just usual, normal.
Regular. So it gives you the chance to assess, evaluate the attitude of the language users, right? It's neutral in the second point, as you said. That was, let me tell you again, adjective plus foreigner. So it was like tag plus lemma. You see, the tagging system is very useful because it gives you the chance to search for, to get real information, deeper structure, so to say, right? So that's really interesting. Okay. Right. Do you have any questions about this program? If not, then that's it as regards the sketch engine, and I would like to introduce you in a few words to my research, to the corpus that I collected, compiled, and uploaded in the sketch engine. It's being processed by sketch engine and by other statistical programs. So I'm just logging out of the system here. Let me log out. Where can I log out? Log in. Okay, I'm already logged out here, and I can log out. Okay. Right, I'm looking at the time. And now the presentation is downloaded here. Slideshow from the beginning. Okay, can you see it from where you sit? Yeah. All right. So, well, irrespective of the title of the presentation, it says legal translation across genres. You know what genre is. You've got genres in literature, right? Text types, basically. So, That's the plan of the presentation. It starts with positioning the research in the field of corpus studies. Corpus studies are, that's the notion which stands for a broad phenomenon, field of study. So I will try to show you where I am, where I fit in. Now, the aim of the study with reference to the related projects, it's an interim stage, which is important. You will not get any final results. It's where I am now. Custom designed corpus, because I was collecting the corpus from the materials, legal text, on court files at the National Court Register. They refer to commercial law, to the field of commercial law. Do you know what commercial law is? The legal regulations connected with companies, like limited liability company, right? Business generally. The methodology and some findings and vistas for future. Now, that's important. If you want, you can take a photograph, because here I give you some information about in relation to the basic studies, the contemporary current studies, in relation to the corpus studies in general, right? Specific type of corpus studies, and in terms of syntagmatic approach, paradigmatic approach, and partly unsupervised data detection. These are very specific data, but if you want to get the general information about corpus studies what corpus studies are, you can just have a look at this. Sorry, I'm moving backwards. You can have a look at these data. Do you want to take note of these names?
I made a print screen.
You had a print screen. Okay, good. Just, I mean, it's very general now, I know, but if you get access to Biel or the other studies, you get a general idea of what corpus studies are. Well, the study aims at showing two issues, namely variantivity, so different realization of what is there, of source text corpus. These are the English texts in the said communicative situation. When I'm talking about communicative situation, I mean the commercial law documents. I have variable of genres, country, origin, year of issue, so I have different text types. All the text types are collected. They differ in terms of what type of text it is, where, when they were generated, when they were drafted, where they come from. If it's English text, it can come from Great Britain or America or someone else, right? So whether they vary in these terms. Analytical dimension number 2, that shows the translations vary as well. It's not just like the same translation. Sometimes it's certified translation, sometimes it's usual, ordinary translation, right? Since I was compiling the text from different sources, the translations also differ in terms of year. Some of them were translated like 10 years ago, and some of them were translated this year. So perhaps the trends change as well, yeah? So here we've got subcorpora we have here, variable of genre, variable of year, variable of country. We analyze whether some features, as you did in your corpora, some features differ depending on which genre type it is, when it was translated, and from where the country comes from. All right, that's it. Now, that's about the corpus, but I already, without getting into details, I already analyzed it to discuss it to you. These are generally commercial law documents on file at court. Do you have, are you familiar with this procedure? Do you have some experience in business? If you want to run a company, perhaps you have some family background or experience or friends running business. If you want to run a company, you need to register it at the court, right? Relevant court, which means you need to submit specific documents. If it's a company from abroad, from Great Britain, let's say, they need to come up with the documents and their translations. So the documents are there, right? In original and in translation. What I did, I asked for the documents from 2 courts in Poland. I collected it, and I have the parallel texts. That's the corpus. All right? Very time-consuming and tough task, you can believe, right? And the texts are pretty varied also, not the same, they are varied. The thesis, that's what I was trying to justify. Can you read it through, please? Okay, nothing to add, I believe, right? If you've got a bag of texts, the texts are different. And what I'm trying, as your two corpora were different, right? And what I'm trying to do is to show that things look different depending on the type of corpus. Now, the difference here is in genre, in time, in country of origin, for example, right? Interesting? We'll see. Well, these are very general issues. The data was well processed, statistical computing was performed, data were normalized, frequencies were calculated for individual genres, comparative analysis of the data, calculating the tendencies, the country of origins. There were, you see that, you know that English is lingua franca language, right? So there were many more countries. Like the text came from Holland, for example, or Belgium, but I had to put them into categories because it would be impossible to process them. So the categories are as follows: US, UK, EU, AS, Asia, and Canada. Categories, right? And also years. I could not analyze the difference for every single year, but the categories are younger than 2000, between 2001, 2010, and older than 2000. I wanted to find the difference. Okay, irrespective of the steps of the analysis, what I did, I analyzed verbal structures. Verbal structures, and the distribution of adjectives, adverbs, prepositions, pronouns, conjunctions, nouns, and so on and so forth. So, without taking you into much detail, because it's a tough work, the presentations, the slides that follow, show the, okay. Show the distribution of some categories. For example, here, when it comes to verbal dimension, simple present passive, simple present active, simple past passive, yeah, different verb forms. This is for financial documentation. Now, in general, you see that there are some differences when it comes to dimension number 1, the differences about legal genres. These pictures show different legal genres referred to as financial documentation, authentication, and company extracts. Now, the differences are not big, but you see that this picture looks different than this. It means that in some cases, the distribution of specific verb forms is conditioned by the type of text, which is obvious, which is natural, right? That's it. Now, the atopic perspective, the country. Well, the assumption was that in some terms, these two pictures look the same, and this one stands out with this peak here. So the idea is that the same texts are different when they come from US compared to the rest of the world. It's somewhat simplified picture, but we can guess it shows the difference. Now the time. The texts which are younger than 2000 look different than the texts which are older than 2000. Do you see my point? Yeah? It's like showing difference according to different categories. Now, dimension number 2, and I want to find out about these forms: pronouns, nouns, conjunctions, adverbs, adjectives. And without getting into details, again, the general picture shows, if we take all the texts that make up the corpus, it shows that the documents in translation look like this, without dividing them into years, countries, genres, and the source text look like this. Now, the titles here stand for the categories of text, for legal genres. Now, the categories here stand for the categories of countries. Now, the categories here stand for years. Well, it shows like conclusions. The features are distributed more homogeneously, the same, across the translation corpus, and thus we assume the translation feature of convergence, the variation of features in the corresponding translation subcorpora, is lower than the source text variance. The discriminative variable is a variable of genre only. Well, convergence was the key issue in the second point. Convergence means equality. It shows that if you have, if the originals differ, the original text, the translation shows that in the process of translation, the texts look more alike than in the original. Do you see my point? Convergence, they converge. So different, they come to one idea. Yes, the translation texts are more flat, sort of, more homogeneous. Yeah, that was what I came up with at this stage of the project. So you could do the same, perhaps, or have some other ideas with your corpus. Now, the difficult point is, as we came up to together, right, is that, we didn't know what to look for, right, at the beginning. And then when we started with some formula, we got the idea that it would be nice to analyze the adjective or something. So, do not, that's my piece of advice, do not look for an idea to contribute, just try to play with things and then the ideas come. That's the only way. Now, I'm more than sure that if you have some research to be done, any project, this tool can be helpful for you. And especially, I mean, at the beginning you don't know how to start with it, right? But once you get hold of it, it's really simple and just click things and you get results. It's the least time-consuming homework you can do. That's honestly right. You don't do surveys, go to people, ask questions, look in blogs, right? It comes to you. And then you can come out. The most important thing is to do the qualitative analysis. So data is not enough. Frequencies is not enough. You need to guess why. Try to speculate is not the scientific word perhaps, but as with breakfast, we know people are negative. It's the whole story about the politics. So that's why it's bloody wealthy, whatever, right? That's the nice. I didn't think about it. Right. So that was all on my part. What time do we have? Yeah. So that's it. Can you tell me your comments, perhaps, in the meantime, about? Honestly, did you have anything to do with corpora before? I mean, in the linguistics class, what was it like?
We did one time with the Anscom.
Yeah.
We analyzed, actually, forgot what we actually did, but yeah, we want to use that because I also studied bachelor here in for translation, and we study a little bit about Copper, but we didn't study such tools like Handcomp or Sketch Engine. We didn't explore them, let's just say. So it was quite kind of new information.
Yeah, and sometimes it's too much. It's really important if you take things by steps, because it's too much. It's really discouraging.
Yeah.
I myself, I'm not like IT work. I mean, very curious about things, and it's really too much sometimes. I mean, if you get too much information. And what was that? Sorry.
No, it's just also when one thing is to explain in theory, another thing if you try yourself to see how it works, what doesn't work. So it gave some ideas, so that would be interesting to do, to see how let's just say, for example, the same with the immigrants and with the Brexit thing. We know it's kind of negative, but to see what the actual results are, that's actually quite interesting. And if for research, if we could get for example, some kind of Latvian one, maybe not in this search engine, but in general.
Yeah.
And if we could compare if this negative aspect is also like shown in Latvian.
That's interesting.
That's interesting research. If we, because I know that in Latvia we tend to kind of soften things.
Yes.
That's
What do you get softer? I mean, the information about what? About Brexit or in some other political
in general, we
information?
like to soften things if it's not connected with Russia. If with Russia, then it's all they are the bad guys and stuff like that. I don't like that aspect that it's shown in the news. So it would be interesting to see if it's also seen in the legal maybe documents.
Okay, right. Whatever tool you assess, Sketch Engine is pretty popular, but it's not the only one. It always works according to the same formula. I mean, the idea is the same, whether it's Handcomp or whatever comp, right? Whether it's a free access tool or something else, right? Okay, so I'm happy that was possible for me to introduce you to this tool. Try to play with it for a month, right? Sometimes it may switch you to some other, let's say, interface. Okay, can you please look at that? Yeah, it was the old interface into original interface actually. Right, just like that. It's still the same program, it's still in the corner. The thing is that they started to rebuild the page and they suggested the new formula, the new interface, which is more user-friendly, and for example, it has those tags at hand here. In the old interface, it's the same principle, but sometimes it's not that obvious. But don't be surprised, you can always come back to the new interface. There's always a switch here or here, new interface or original interface. So that's it. It happened in the past that sometimes the new interface was not functional for some operations, and you come back to the old interface and you can use both. Sort of. Okay, since you don't have any further questions, and thank you for today. How was the beginning for you of the whole story? Am I supposed to switch off this screen? Yeah, this one? Stop?
Yeah, the red.
Okay. All right.
No, stop, down, next to it.